Sometimes they get hurt. That's why I'm so grateful we have children's hospitals. Because when any child needs a miracle, they'll do everything in their power to make one happen. With our support, please join me in giving sick and injured children every chance to get better. Support Children's Miracle Network hospitals. Put your money where the miracles are.
Animals First Pet Resort and Fur Haven Canines reminds pet owners of the importance of spaying and neutering. Shelters overflow with unwanted pets. Spaying and neutering helps to prevent this and has many health benefits, too. That's Animals First Pet Resort and Fur Haven Canines. Call 951-926-9660. Animals First Pet Resort features boarding and daycare. And Fur Haven Canines are responsible breeders of Cavalier King Charles and English Golden Retrievers. Visit them online at furhavencanines.com. Good afternoon. It's 4:02. I'm Di Rice with the latest in live local news here on KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM. Well, here's the latest in yesterday's shootings here in San Bernardino. Law enforcement sources say it does appear that Saeed Rizwan Farouk was radicalized, and the belief contributed to the shooting motivation, though other motivations like workplace grievances could have also played a role. Farouk was in touch with more than one international terrorism subjects who the FBI was already investigating, according to other law enforcement officials. Some of those communications were over the phone, others were on social media. The officials say these contacts were not considered high-priority terrorism subjects, though. It's been at least a few months since the last known contacts were made, according to officials. And Hussam Olish, executive director of CARE LA, speaking of information he got from Farouk's brother-in-law, Farhan Khan, said Farouk and his wife left their 6-month-old baby girl with the baby's grandmother Friday morning and said they had a doctor's appointment. Olish confirmed that the grandmother who took the baby this morning was the mother of the suspected shooter. The grandmother thought everything was normal when the drop-off occurred, and then she became concerned when she saw reports of the shooting in connection with Saeed's place of work. She called him, and when he didn't respond, she became even more concerned. Mid-afternoon, she got a call from a news outlet asking if she was related to the suspect, and she said yes, and she was shocked to hear that he was indeed a suspect. We do have a list of names of the suspects. Going to save that for the Poor Man Show and discuss that with Fred Plumley, too, coming up here on the Poor Man Show. Right now, let's take a look at your weather. Variable clouds moving in tomorrow, leaving us with a high of about 70. Overnight lows tonight, 45. Currently 73 here in San Bernardino. Checking out your drive, still the street closures here in San Bernardino, both the north and southbound Waterman between the 10 freeway and East Mill Street. Let's see. Your alternates are Mount Vernon, the 215, or Alabama. And San Bernardino Avenue, it is likewise closed in both directions between Tippecanoe and Mountain View. Your alternates there are 5th Street, the 10. And that is the very latest with news, weather, and traffic on the station that leaves no listener behind, KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM. This report has been brought to you by the Foundation for a Better Life. Winston Churchill's words stirred his country in the face of defeat. Today, they inspire us to reach for our own victories. Commitment. Pass it on. From the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com.
Give yourself the investment of a lifetime. Enjoy this holiday season in a luxury estate home at Charleston Estates, the only new home neighborhood in prestigious South Redlands and smartly priced from the mid-800,000s. Charleston Estates features gourmet kitchens and California rooms that make holiday entertaining even more memorable. Homes reach 4,463 square feet with up to 5 bedrooms. Ask about our discounted HOA dues and move-in incentives, too. Visit MaliaHomes.com for details. That's MaliaHomes.com.
For more local radio every day, tune into KCAA Loma Linda. You know, the ocean isn't that far from the IE. Not when we're talking about Ocean Honda of San Juan Capistrano.
I'm coming through. Okay. Okay, we're on the air. Hello, everybody.
You,
What a 24 hours that is being experienced. I think we're experiencing some technical difficulties right now.
we are, and honestly, you're coming in and out, and I do have Fred Plemley on the line, and Vicky is also on the line with us. So,
All right. Well, it's my connection cutting out,
it sounds okay right now.
hon, because I'm just hearing. Okay, now, yeah,
Okay,
that's
yeah.
better. I
For some
think.
reason, I have no idea what happened, but yeah, it is better. Okay.
Okay.
So, welcome to the Poor Man Show. Poor Man?
Hey, thanks. I mean, what an unbelievable 24 hours. I'm still hearing an echo, but why don't we put Vicky on right now? She's actually calling from the San Bernardino Police Department. Hi, Vicky. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I mean, what a horrific 24 hours that you guys experienced. Your last name is,
Cervantes,
and you're with the
San
public,
Bernardino Police Department.
right? And you, of course, you're not the public information officer, but you were sort of thrown into that duty out of nowhere, right?
I back up the official public information officer when he's off, and he happens to be off this week.
What a week for him to take off, huh?
My thoughts exactly. Yes.
Hey, Di, am I sounding all right now?
Yeah, you're sounding fine. Yeah.
That's better than usual. So, Vicky, if you can, I mean, obviously, what happened yesterday was just horrific, and I want to commend the San Bernardino Police Department first of all for a terrific job. But go back to yesterday at 11 in the morning and recount to everybody just what happened. Go ahead, take it from there.
It was about 11 in the morning. Our dispatchers broadcast some shots heard down in the area of 1365 South Waterman Avenue, which was found to be the Inland Regional Center. Moments after that broadcast came out, they then broadcast that it was an active shooter inside the building. Of course, they had already dispatched a couple of units when the shots were heard, and when it turned into an active shooter, pretty much every policeman within the San Bernardino Police Department grabbed their gear and ran out the doors to go assist with it. The first officers got there, and as a team, they ran into the building in order to engage and if there was a shooter and try to save the people that were inside. I was not one of them, but I did hear the radio traffic, and it was quite an emotional event. There was obviously victims inside the building that needed medical aid. Those officers were trying to assist those people and had to continue, searching the building for the suspects, which we did not know whether they were inside the building or if they had escaped prior to our arrival.
Vicky, do you have any sort of count on like how many people were actually in the building at the time?
We don't have that quite yet. It's a rather large building. I don't know if you know the area.
A little bit.
It turns out this was a conference room, but there are a lot of offices. It's at least a 2-story building with a lot of offices. So it was quite a large, intense search. But the main crime occurred in the conference room, which was their first point of entry.
Was the shooting still going on when your officers arrived?
No, it was not. There was no shooting when we got there.
So basically your officers saw the carnage is the first thing they saw in that conference room.
Yeah, they did. They saw the injured people on the floors and of course frantic, panicked people throughout the other offices that were hiding, trying to be locked in offices and hiding in place to avoid, being harmed themselves.
And so your officers had to deal with that, and you probably didn't know if there were still shooters inside the building as well, right?
That's correct. Yeah, and then you have to sort through who's a true victim, who's a shooter, and so you can't just look at somebody and engage and shoot them. There were victims there, but there could have been shooters. So it was really stressful for those guys that went in.
When you were listening on the radio, could you hear the people that were hurt and the victims?
No, they the officers, the radio traffic was very good, very controlled. They only broadcast what needed to be said for the most part, and we could not hear any victims. I could not hear any victims, I should say.
How long did it take, Vicki, before the officers knew that the shooters had actually left the building?
It was quite a bit of time. I don't know if it was 1 hour, 2 hours, but they did not know until they searched that entire building.
Wow.
So,
and I think it took a few
some time.
hours. Yeah, 2 to 3 hours. I'm thinking.
Yeah, some of the offices were locked, so they had to get into the locked offices, which of course took a little bit more time.
Yeah.
So it was definitely not a real fast process, but it was methodical, and they had to make sure, check every nook and cranny.
Though, considering all the circumstances and everything that went down, locked doors and everything, I mean, they really did a fabulous job. And there were so many people out on the scene, so many law enforcement agencies. Who all was there?
I couldn't even tell you. There were agencies from all over the area. There was local agencies, Fontana Police Department, Colton Police Department, Redlands Police Department, Barstow Police Department.
Wow.
I saw.
Wow.
There was Homeland Security, federal agents, probation, parole, California Highway Patrol. I'm missing a ton of them.
Yeah.
I think that the Chief Burguan mentioned in a press conference today that he thinks there were a rough number was 300 law enforcement officers from so many agencies on scene.
Wow.
How fast did they get out there?
I believe it was, and I might be wrong on this, but I believe I heard it was 4 minutes from the time it was dispatched to the time the first officer was on scene.
That's really great timing. It really is.
You know what? And Di, you were at the radio station, which is 2 miles away from where this happened.
Yeah.
How did you first find out? How did the station first find out yesterday?
Well, the funny thing was, I was doing a traffic report, and it popped up, and Vicki had even said that there were like 12 fatalities in the area. And then Mark Westwood, who's our operations manager, and Brandon McCormick, who also works here, he runs the board in the morning, they came running and providing me with more information on this. And I'm like, yeah, I think that's in their traffic report. But then they took away the fatalities on that site. And then we learned that there were 3 for sure. And then it went up to the 14, unfortunately. So, yeah.
How far are you from the San Bernardino Police Department at KCAA, Di?
Oh, probably. What do you think, Vicki? A mile? We're at the Carousel Mall.
Yeah,
if that.
Yeah, within a mile, probably.
Yeah. So it's very close to them as well. So
yeah, it's not far.
Yeah, and they have released names of all the victims. I believe it's all the victims now.
That's correct. The Sheriff's Department just released that information.
Yeah, so...
I hear there's a thing tonight, too, like at the stadium, a candlelight...
They're holding vigils all over. I've got some information on that, but, and Fred Plumley's on the line, too. Maybe he could even add to this conversation.
Fred from the station went out there, too, and before we put Fred on, Vicki, once you knew that the shooters had left, how did it get to the point where you were able to find out who they were, have the department surround them and take them out, so to speak? I mean, how did that all go down?
It's my understanding that some of the people that were there at that event gave some officers the information of what turned out to be the suspect, stating we might look at him for whatever reasons and I don't know what that was. So those officers started doing follow-up based on the information that was given to them at that time.
All right, because he was a worker there, right?
He was a San Bernardino County employee. I believe he worked for Environmental Health Services. So the officers did some investigative work on that to follow up to see if they could find a location where he might be.
How long had he worked there? And that's what led them
to the house in Redlands.
How long had he worked there prior to the shooting?
I believe I believe it was several years, but I don't know the exact number.
Wow.
I have 5 years. He worked there for 5 years.
Yeah, and that sounds about right.
Yeah.
So you got he was identified by his co-workers, and then what transpired from there to actually find him and his wife, the two shooters?
It's my understanding that some officers went over to the house in Redlands that we found a connection to, and while they were there at the home, the dark-colored, I believe it was an Explorer Expedition. I'm sorry, I don't recall. Drove by, and they identified that as being a possible of his. So it didn't stop at the home, but it drove by and was a little bit suspicious in nature. So the officers started following it, thinking it, having the belief that it was possibly him. Those officers started following him or that vehicle, and then they called for the assistance of Redlands Police Department, who brought marked units over to assist. And then they went on that short vehicle pursuit with the suspect failing to stop. And it's my understanding that the suspect vehicle then stopped on its own, or the driver stopped, and the passenger, which turned out to be the female, started shooting through the rear window of that vehicle at the police cars that were right behind them with automatic weapons.
Wow.
How many police cars were trailing them at that point?
I don't have any idea on that. I don't know. I don't think there were very many at that point, and the ones from our agency were unmarked units. So it may have been confusing to some people that were driving by because they weren't all black and whites that were shooting.
Wow.
So then the officers engaged in a gun battle with the suspects until the suspects stopped firing. And then at that time they were able to try to secure the scene and put it all together and identify them.
Where does everything stand today? I mean, how many people were killed and how many injured?
There were 14 people that actually died as a result of this, and we are at 21 people for injuries. And those are different extents. Some are, gunshot wounds, and some are just more lacerations from falling while trying to escape.
They were looking for a third suspect, or the one that they had detained. They had questioned him. We haven't heard anything more about that because I think all along everybody was thinking that he was Farouk. And I was quite surprised when I found out that, oh no, he was the one who died in the vehicle, so
yeah.
Along with his wife.
Yeah, I think we're pretty confident that there were actually only two shooters involved. The person that was chased, somebody saw them running from the area. We got several reports of people running in that area, jumping fences, so on and so forth. So, of course, we followed up on all of them to try to determine if they were involved. That particular subject, we ruled him out as being involved. He may have been. There were several people that were had driven up or were in that area. They abandoned their cars and fled, which could be because of the shooting going on.
Right.
And again, with unmarked cars involved, they wouldn't necessarily know that it's the police shooting. So they just ran themselves for cover. But that particular gentleman had a misdemeanor warrant for his arrest for something completely unrelated.
Oh.
So he did have to deal with that, but he was completely uninvolved in this shooting.
All right. And there was I don't know if you heard this story, there was a Press Enterprise reporter who was caught up in running, and I don't know if he fell or purposely to the ground, but anyway, the officers approached him, and he says, "I'm a reporter."
Oh, I didn't hear that one.
Yeah, so we were trying to get him on the show, too, because we thought that would be a different perspective, quite a unique and scary one. So.
Yeah, there were, like I said, there were reports of a lot of people running and jumping fences, and of course we had to do our best to capture them all and narrow it down to make sure that the community was safe.
Wow.
Do you feel pretty confident the community is safe today?
I do. I do. That this incident is it was horrific. It was tragic, and it's heartbreaking. But I'm confident that the people that, were in there shooting have been captured and, are now deceased. And we just have to put the pieces together, put the puzzle pieces together and close it out. There's still a lot of investigative work that has to be done. Obviously, we have to make sure there was nobody else working with them or nobody else that's involved in any way. But that's going to take quite some time. But in the meantime, San Bernardino police officers were out there and in full force like we've been in the past, and we're doing everything we can to keep the community safe.
This is Vicky Cervantes. She's the, I guess, standing-in public information officer for the San Bernardino Police Department. And thanks you a million for coming on today. Is the chief nearby you right now, just out of curiosity?
He is not. He is in a meeting right now with many officials from the county and state and everywhere else.
You had mentioned to me off the air that he's a pretty cool customer, right, when this all happened?
Yeah, he has done an outstanding job. He's led this organization through so many difficult times. This is probably, in my opinion, one of the worst. And he's not skipped a step. He's just stayed strong and vigilant and made sure everything got done that needed to be done.
And left out any speculation.
Correct.
And that was what was so cool. I think they did a really fine job. And while you say that this is probably one of the most horrific experiences that they've encountered probably ever, it's the turnabout on this is that they did such a fine job that it's really they did a great job, and they can. I mean, the community can see that. And after the way that they handled that, I would think that the community feels even more safe despite yesterday's shooting, because they jumped on stuff, they handled it well. I mean, they did a fabulous job. They really honestly did.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
We have a good team. We work well together, and it's a good team here.
The interesting thing about it is people are quick to criticize the police, but if you've got a situation like yesterday with, somebody armed like a Special Forces Ranger, the only people, then all of a sudden the cops are your buddies, because who's going to be charging on in there other than the police,
And I honestly think that this is going to overshadow any negative aspects of what the police department or surrounding police departments or even the sheriff's department has been doing the last couple of years, because there have been an awful lot of officer-involved shootings. And now, I mean, the police department is, I believe, truly showing everybody what they're made of.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, thank you for coming on the show, too. I'm sure that you've got more to do than to talk to us all day, right?
Well, yeah, I'm a little busy, but I always have time.
Okay, well, you're really fantastic. Send the best to the chief for us, and ask him if he gets a moment, if he can come on our show at some point in the future.
Absolutely, I will. All right, you guys have a good evening and stay safe.
Thank you so much, Vicki.
Okay, you too.
All right.
Thanks
and
a
you're
lot.
doing
Bye-bye.
a great job, too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You know what we should do? Why don't we take a break here? And I want to tell everybody, tomorrow I'm going to be broadcasting from the House of Flies again in Costa Mesa. That's a totally different situation than what we've been talking about. And that's everybody's welcome to come on down there. We'll be there actually the next 2 Fridays. It's going to be Black Flies. It's going to be Black Flies Friday. And anyway, so that's happening. And then let's take a break. And then we should talk to Fred Plimley, right?
Correct.
He went out for the station. He was there all day and all night.
Oh, he's been a trooper.
Right. Anybody who wants to call in and give their thoughts on what happened, I've got a lot of thoughts on what happened. The number is 888-909-1050, 888-909-1050. We'd love to hear some calls from you guys, and we'll be right back.
You know, the ocean isn't that far from the IE. Not when we're talking about Ocean Honda of San Juan Capistrano. It is well worth the drive. Great buys on all Honda models from the Fit to the Pilot. You'll get the best deals on wheels from Ocean Honda. And just to sweeten the deal, mention the Poorman and get 3 free oil changes with the purchase or lease of any new Honda. Make the drive down the 5 to Ocean Honda off the Camino Capistrano exit. We'll see you at Ocean Honda. And don't forget to mention the Poorman.
Here's your Money Minute with Market Wrap host Mo Ansari.
If you follow the markets, you've probably been getting seasick lately. But what if I told you that market volatility can be a good thing? If you're a bargain hunter, this is your coupon. So keep your shopping list handy. If you're a long-term investor with plenty of time before retirement, the money going into your 401k each month will buy more shares when the markets are down. And if you have a good financial plan, you can relax while others worry, because that plan will carry you beyond today's headlines. Of course, you should always consider professional guidance before making any financial decisions. That's your Money Minute. I'm Mo Ansari.
For more tips on investing during market volatility and other investment topics, listen to Market Wrap weekdays at 5 p.m. on this station. For a free consultation with Mo Ansari, call 800-388-9700. That's 800-388-9700.
Compact Asset Management is a registered investment advisor. Funds custodian, Fidelity Institutional Wealth Services, member FINRA SIPC.
Music Changing Lives, KCAA, and Daniels Jewelers are working together to make Christmas brighter for thousands of children in the Inland Empire. Random Act of Kindness is a toy drive orchestrated by Music Changing Lives, and KCAA is a collection station. We will be collecting gifts until December 22nd, Monday through Friday, 8 till 5. If you bring by a gift for a child worth $15 or more, you'll get a $50 off coupon card from Daniels Jewelers. Drop off your $15 donation at KCAA, located at 254 Carousel Mall in San Bernardino. For more information, call Di Rice, that's me, at 909-885-8502. Again, 909-885-8502. Music Changing Lives, Daniels Jewelers, and KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM. Thank you. KCAA 1050 AM. You're tuned to the Poorman Show. Waiting for Poorman.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Waiting for Poorman to get off the phone. He can't hear me. We do have Fred Plemley on the line, and Fred Lundgren, our owner here of KCAA, has called, and he does want us to talk about the victims. And I do have a list here. I would say the average. Fred, are you there?
Yes, Fred Plumley here. How are you?
Yeah, good. The victims, they've released the names and the ages and of the victims in yesterday's shooting. I don't know if you've heard about this yet. It came out not too long ago, but Shannon Johnson, 45-year-old of Los Angeles, Bernetta Bet Badal, 46 of Rialto, Aurora Godoy, 26, San Jacinto, Isaac Amanios, 60 of Fontana, Larry Kaufman, 42 of Rialto, Harry Bowman, 46 of Upland, Yvette Velasco, 27, Fontana, Sierra Claiborne, 27 of Moreno Valley, Robert Adams, 40 of Yucaipa, Nicholas Thalasinos, 52 of Colton, 10 Wynn, 31 of Santa Ana, Juan Espinoza, 50 of Highland, Damian Means, 58 Riverside. We had a little more information on him this morning, but that's the only one with the details on it. Michael Wetzel, 37-year-old of Lake Arrowhead. So those are all the victims. So,
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. I went to you and you were on your phone call still.
Yeah, it's about unfortunately, my car has been out of commission, so I apologize.
So we were just naming off the names of victims, and Fred Lundgren called in. He wanted us to make sure that we did that. So
absolutely,
yeah.
There's still an echo for some reason.
It happens when my microphone is on. So I don't know.
It was fine after we started talking to Vicky, but that's all right. Don't worry about it.
I can turn.
It's awful. Is Fred on there? I mean, not Fred, but Fred Plemley.
Yeah, he's on the line right now.
Yes, I'm here, Jim.
So tell us what happened yesterday with you.
Okay, I was at the studio meeting with Mark Westwood, a business meeting, and basically Di was there as well and a couple others, and we heard the information. And anyway, I decided to go out to the Inland Regional Center, which was pretty close. It's only a couple miles away. It's on Waterman, so I trekked over there as quick as I could. When I got to Waterman, there was about 5 officers, I believe, with the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department blocking, but I told them who I was and presented credentials. They let me go up, and near the Inland Regional Center, there was a hasty area where the media, they had blocked us off, but it was right before the bridge crossing the Santa Ana River, and the regional center's right on the other side. So we were there, and anyway, so we got there with the media, and I was there reporting on this all afternoon, and I was there actually with the KNBC team, with Tony Shin, who's the senior reporter for NBC News, Channel 4, and also Alex Vasquez. Alex is a photographer, and he was about the first person on the scene. He was driving a NBC News van and happened to hear the call on the police scanner and responded. And so actually, so I reported with them, and it was quite an event. It's a terrible event, and I was there all afternoon. And also I went out later in the evening. I went out to the city of Redlands, to the location where the suspects, they had their residence, and the suspects are Saeed Rizwan Farouk and Tashfeen Malik, and went out to the area because I was very familiar with it. I grew up in Redlands, and anyway, they lived in the California Redlands townhouses on Center Street, and they didn't want to give too much information, but I did talk to a lady who was the manager of the complex, and I talked to her for 3 or 4 minutes. She actually gave me the address at the time, which is 53 North Center Street, and also the names of the 2 residents. And these are condos in a nice part of Redlands. They're 2-bedroom condos, 1.5 baths, about 1,160 square foot, built in 1979, but really nice area right near the Redlands Daily Fax and the DMV office. And so I got all that information, and then I went back and continued to report at the media center there, and got done about midnight, and it was quite a day. There are many police agencies all over. One of the agencies that I saw a lot was the FBI had a major component. Also, of course, San Bernardino, California Highway Patrol, the sheriff, ATF, just a lot of agencies. I think what really helped, though, because when I got there, I think what saved lives was the very quick response by the police, because I think that if the police hadn't got there in about 4 minutes, that many more people would have died.
You think they left when they knew the police were coming?
Terrible.
You think they left when they knew the police were coming, Fred?
Yes, I believe so. I think that's what happened, that they took off. And
how did they know the police were coming?
I don't know, but this is what I've been, that's what I've heard. One thing I wanted to mention is, there's been a lot of talk, and I know we've been discussing it, but I believe that there was a lot of planning involved in this.
For sure.
I think that that's been determined.
For sure. I mean, how does this guy, he goes to Saudi Arabia, just offhand, meets a wife that he's been set up with that he never met. Then all of a sudden she's coming back with him from Saudi Arabia. And then he's working for San Bernardino County for years. He goes to the party and then miraculously comes back like a Special Forces Ranger. I mean, of course, it's terrorism. It's got to be terrorism. And what really gets me, and you guys can all jump into this, as I've thought about this a lot. Like I thought, living in New York for a while, I thought, okay, the next place that's going to be hit is New York because it's so jammed with people. But to pick San Bernardino, it just goes to show you that any place, anywhere now can be hit by terrorism. It doesn't have to be the big city. It can be a town like San Bernardino. And what gets me, this is a thing that I want to throw out at you. Donald Trump thinks that if he was president, he would have people go after the families of these terrorists. And I mean, I know that sounds inhumane, but at some point, it's either us or them. And then the other thing is, should we all be armed or not? Like, remember when we had on Cooking with Jack? He lives in Nashville.
Yes.
And he said that if this is right after the church shooting with that white supremacist dumbass, and they were saying in Jack's church it's legal to pack guns. He said that they would get off one shot, and then that the guy whoever shot would be like Swiss cheese because everybody's packing, and maybe we should all be packing guns. I mean, seriously. Because these terrorist attacks.
In this case, though, the San Bernardino Police Department responded in such a quick manner that prevented probably many, many additional deaths, as well as the fact that they'd had all this planning and they had, at least 3 bombs wired up to a remote control, and luckily that wasn't detonated. Obviously, in the residence in Redlands at the condo, they found 12 pipe bombs over, I don't know,
but the thing is,
all kinds of stuff. So obviously there was a lot of planning involved. I mean,
but Fred, here's the thing. Fred, here's the thing.
Realize that they had this on their mind, I think.
Yeah, Fred, here's the thing, though, is that, yes, they prevented lives from, more people from dying, but you can't hide the fact we just announced the victims on the air. There's 14 people who died, 21 injured. Maybe we should all be packing guns and it'll be like the Old West. So if somebody decides they want to shoot somebody, there's a bunch of people ready to shoot them back. I mean, what else can you do? There's no way.
I don't know, but I do think I've heard some recent reports that people are pushing for additional gun control, and I don't think that this incident has anything to do about that. Here in California, we have some of the strictest gun control. People don't understand that the suspect, Saeed Rizwan Farouk, bought the 2 9mm pistols legally. The 2 assault rifles, the 223 rifles, were purchased out of state by someone else and provided to him. They weren't even legally, they wouldn't even be able to be purchased in California. So we have some of the strictest gun rules
but I think the point is
United States.
To loosen it up. I think, let everybody have a gun because here's the thing.
Let's all get guns.
I have been a staunch opponent of guns, but I'm starting to change. I'm starting to feel differently now because you have so many incidents. I think across the U.S., there have been like 1,300 shootings, just random shootings in the last year. That's ridiculous.
And what's so bad about it, Di and Fred, what's so horrible about it is that it's not even a contest. Okay, these people are sitting there having a Christmas party. Not one single person has a weapon, and these 2 cowards, these a-holes, come in there and just blow people away, and there's nothing anybody could do. Nobody can defend themselves. So if we all pack guns...
It's called even the playing field.
Right. And Trevor just texted me. He says we should just blow up the whole Middle East. I mean, all these ideas, they may sound far-fetched. Everybody puts down Trump for what he believes. But you know what? Okay, Trump's an idiot, right? Look what's going down.
Yeah. And
Look what's going down.
I think he gets in office, he'll be serious about all this stuff, terrorist attacks. And
I want to kick their asses. I mean, I hate hearing stories like what happened yesterday in San Bernardino. Horrible. Just awful.
It is really horrible, but I think, as I said, I think that they're trying to equate this with other criminal things when it looks like this is that they were radicalized, this was planned in advance, and a terrorist attack of this type would have happened regardless of gun control or not.
Right, and why? Why do you do this? It's just I mean, what is the reason? I mean, I tried to think of why these people from the Middle East are doing what they're doing. Maybe it's partly our fault because whenever there's a conflict there, we go in and drop bombs, and so we're not over there seeing the devastation that's happening in the Middle East. But maybe we shouldn't even be in there. Why are we there? It's just.
Well, I don't think we could blame ourselves for a terrible attack. It's senseless, and the fact, this situation here is, it appears to me and others and many others in the media that this Saeed Rizwan Farouk and Tashfeen Malik, planned this attack quite a while, and then he went out and he'd been working with these people for 5 years, knew all these people would be there, and went out intending on killing as many people as possible. It's just, it's abhorrent. It's
right,
it's
but
terrible.
Why? I mean, what is his reason? What are all their reasons? I mean, I'd like to. I mean, listen, we should all be packing, Di. I agree with you, but what? I'm wondering why. That's the other thing. Why do these people do this?
Well, they say that he was contacting a number of terrorist leaders with ISIS and Al Qaeda. This is the news that we all have. So it appears that that this was planned, and he was talking to a number of terrorist leaders.
Yeah, but
look at what happened. You have a man and a woman who did this and planned this, and actually left their 6-month-old baby girl with the grandparents, and went out and committed this terrible atrocity. So it's obvious that they didn't care about anyone, and certainly didn't even care about their own daughter.
I'm wondering about the baby. I'm not the most well-read guy on this whole situation. Where was the baby born? Maybe it was a stunt baby, for all we know.
Well,
does anybody know anything
here?
Because
she's only 6 months old, so she had to have been born here.
But do we know? Because I thought he just went to Saudi Arabia and met her like a little while ago.
He came back from, I think he went or either came back in June or July of 2014. So he's been back for a while.
Well, actually,
and did she come with him?
And he also went and completed the Hajj, or the pilgrimage, in Saudi Arabia in 2013.
Okay, and do you know when he came back to America after meeting?
Well, he came back twice. I don't know the exact dates. The other thing is...
but did he come back with her? But did he come back with her?
Relatives.
Did he... Hey, Fred, before you... Hey, Fred, pot down Fred for a minute.
I did.
Okay, but before we move on, this is an important thing, but did he come back with her?
In 2014, he did.
He did. So she's been here since 2014.
Yeah, and they supposedly rented this house in Redlands in May of this year.
Okay, but they were an arranged marriage, right?
I don't think. No, it was
I don't think that we could say that, Jim.
What I have read is that, and it could be speculation at this point in time, but there's a lot of sources that are backing this up. He met her online on social media, and then went to actually meet her. She's Pakistani, I think. Or maybe, and anyway, so they did meet up, and when he came back with her, and they either, it's unclear whether they got married there or they came here and they got married here before her visa expired, because her visa was a 90 days visa.
Mike from Menifee texts me and he says, "Why did they do this? You can't rationalize insanity, poor man. The world is full of bloodthirsty nuts." But it's happening too much. There has to be a reason. I don't buy that. They're just. It's just not a bunch of insane people. There's got to be. I mean, this thing is getting so big, and I don't even remember all the different things that have happened. How often is this happening now? Every once, twice a week?
Well,
obviously they get radicalized, and they get radicalized by these terrorist leaders like ISIS and Al Qaeda. And then they follow that, and ISIS has these goals and objectives to attack us anywhere.
I don't know what to make of the whole thing.
Yeah, it's scary is what it is.
Yeah, Trevor just said the guy paid for his condo with his government salary. And then somebody else is saying here, I think this is Caesar, he says, I'm with you, Poorman. I'm not sure why America is such a target. Listen, here's the thing. Hold on, Fred. Here's the thing we can't forget, okay, and die, is that we decide we're going to go and invade Iraq with Bush, which I thought was horrible. So we start dropping all these bombs from Saddam Hussein. Who knows who we're killing? We're not just killing Saddam's guys. We're killing all kinds of people. Then we're in Afghanistan. Then we're in all these Middle Eastern countries shooting up everything. We're going to make some enemies. And they're probably reacting over there the same way we're reacting, because now we're getting people killed. Look how angry we're all getting. But we don't hear what's happening with our troops over there.
But explain France. What happened in Paris?
Wasn't France one of the allies when we invaded the Middle Eastern countries?
Maybe that's it right there. Maybe that is it.
I think it is, because we're not. If we were in Iraq and all sorts of people are getting killed by our bombs, how do you think? Listen, how angry we are.
Right.
They were angry before that because we should have just not invade these countries all the time.
Well, and I think once these people get into a habit of living life like that they get a huge adrenaline high off of it, and they just keep going, and they want to do more, and they want to do more, and
but they're mad though. That's the first reason.
Absolutely,
they're mad because all of a sudden all their people are getting killed by the Oh,
I thought you meant mad crazy. Well, that both.
Well, they're just angry because this superpower America is trying to go in there and just blow up their country and kills innocent people, and I know that's got to be part of it.
Right, you're probably right, Fred.
Jim, look, this gentleman was born in Idaho, and he, basically lived the American dream, had a great job. And, obviously they became radicalized and just full of this radical propaganda. I think there's no excuse whatsoever for this type of behavior.
Of course. But then do we have the excuse to go into these countries and start bombing them for whatever reason we want to go in there? That's the other question.
Well, I think we have the excuse to do that now. I certainly do now, but prior to the last, 3-4 years, I don't think so.
Let's go back to when Bush decided he needed to take out Saddam.
Yeah.
Because of the weapons of mass destruction. Let's go all the way back then. Of course, we did have 9/11.
Okay. Yeah. So,
yeah, I guess that kind of is a difference maker.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's just a shame. It really is a shame. And it'll be interesting to what happens with our gun laws here in the United States.
I say let us all pack, just like Cooking with Jack told us in the late great YouTube radio show.
Yeah, and I wonder if that would discourage them, because at least they would know. They would know that there is a chance that you're not going to get away with this, even if you have military-style shotguns.
Hey, I got to take a break right now.
Discouraged by the great law enforcement in San Bernardino and the sheriff's department who responded in 4 minutes, because think of how many more people would have been dead if they hadn't responded so quickly.
Oh, there's no question. They did a phenomenal job yesterday. They really honestly did. And
hey, Fred, thanks for calling in. We got to take a break here, all right?
Okay, do you want me to hang on, or are we fine?
I think we're fine because the show's almost over, but well done yesterday, my friend.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for all your help.
All right, well, thank you very much, and look forward to talking with you again.
Okay, you take care, buddy.
Music Changing Lives, KCAA and Daniels Jewelers are working together to make Christmas brighter for thousands of children in the Inland Empire. Random Act of Kindness is a toy drive orchestrated by Music Changing Lives, and KCAA is a collection station. We will be collecting gifts until December 22nd, Monday through Friday, 8 till 5. If you bring by a gift for a child worth $15 or more, you'll get a $50 off coupon card from Daniel's Jewelers. Drop off your $15 donation at KCAA, located at 254 Carousel Mall in San Bernardino. For more information, call Di Rice, that's me, at 909-885-8502. Again, 909-885-8502. Music Changing Lives, Daniel's Jewelers, and KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM. Thank you.
You know, the ocean isn't that far from the IE. Not when you're talking about Ocean Honda of San Juan Capistrano. It is well worth the drive. Great buys on all Honda models from the Fit to the Pilot. You'll get the best deals on wheels from Ocean Honda. And just to sweeten the deal, mention the Poorman and get a free iPad mini when you sell your car to Ocean Honda. Make the drive down the 5 to Ocean Honda off the Camino Capistrano exit. We'll see you at Ocean Honda. And don't forget to mention the Poorman.
Did you know Cover California can help you find a low-cost quality health care plan that's absolutely right for you and your family? Did you know there's coverage for unexpected emergencies and everyday aches and pains? Did you know free preventative care like blood pressure and cholesterol screenings are also provided to stop small problems from getting bigger? Well, now you know.
Covered California. It's more than just health care. It's life care. Visit CoveredCA.com to find free, local, in-person help or enroll online by December 15th to have coverage by January 1st.
Okay, we are back. Want to tell everybody again, tomorrow I will be broadcasting from the House of Flies in Costa Mesa. It's where you buy all the good black flies, sunglasses, the gear. I'm wearing some of the gear right now if you're watching on the Ustream. And we will be talking to Lenny, who is the manager, owner of the House of Flies. They got some great deals going on for Christmas. Get some great shades, some great gear, men and women. And then the Hub Bar is right next door. And usually there's visits daily from Dennis Rodman, who is drinking at that bar. And then he comes over to the House of Flies. So it's possible we might even have Rodman on tomorrow. We can't ask him because if you ask him, then he may not be there at all because he doesn't want to schedule an interview. But what we hear is if he just happens to be there and there's no forceful, like, Dennis, we want you on the air, he might come on the air, which would be insane if we had Dennis Rodman.
That'd be cool.
So we'll see, but it's going to be fun tomorrow, and that's what we need. We need a little bit of levity, but Di and I were talking off the air that both of us, neither one of us wanted to have guns. I've never had a gun. You've never had a gun.
Mm-mm.
And I'm starting to feel like I'd like to get myself an AK-47. I'm serious.
Oh, go for the gusto, man.
Hey, I don't think, I mean, listen, we were also talking off the air. There's so many deaths that are happening and so many terrorist acts, I can't even keep track of them.
In so many places. There was a guy who called up yesterday, David from Yucaipa had called, and he was saying something about, what about the shooting in New Orleans? And I said, when was that? He said, yeah. It was current. I don't know if you know anything about that.
You're right. I think I'd heard something.
And when was it? Was it last week? Was it this week?
Scary. I don't even know. I mean, since Paris, I think there were a couple more.
Yeah, and so anyway, I told him, I invited him to call the show tomorrow and we could talk about that. But that's the thing. There's so many, and something like this, where you have 14 dead people, is going to overshadow anything where the victims, even though they're kids, they were just kids. And I think there were like 10 wounded. And, so it's kind of like, well, no one died. So, I mean, I don't mean that. I don't mean that in the callous way that I'm saying. But, I mean, you have to, sort things out. And you can't keep track of everything. You're right. So it makes it really, really difficult, especially as you're getting older to remember all this stuff.
It's funny that, I mean, not funny, but Fred mentioned, I'm still hearing this horrible thing. It's my voice sounding awful coming across there.
Well, you're sounding okay. So when you talk, I'll turn my mic down. That should be fine.
Okay, something's going on. But anyway, I was just going to say that the 14 people die and they'll be remembered for a few days, and then all of a sudden there'll be another act of terrorism somewhere on the earth, and it's just there's no way to fight this. It's not like a country attacks another country anymore. So maybe the only solution is we all have guns. Carry them around everywhere. And if people want to do some attacking, like that room that was having a Christmas party, if they had all had guns, then it might have been settled faster, which is unfortunate to say, but what else can you do? There's no way you can cover and protect everybody. And as good a job as San Bernardino did,
there were still fatalities.
Right.
Yeah.
14 people died, 21 were injured.
Yeah.
Like two a-holes.
Yep.
And there was no way you could have ever predicted this would happen. There's no way.
Yeah, and you were saying that you were asking how it happened, and that guy, I don't know if you know this part of the story, but he was at that party, quote unquote, and he got into an argument with somebody, and then he left and he came back with his wife. And that's when it all happened. So there was, I think it was a terrorist attack. You and I have thought that all along.
Yep.
And but there was definitely something locally going on that he was upset about too.
But do you think though that he probably was going to do it anyway? Because it seems to me like he to be fully armored and, and armed.
Definitely. He was going to do something somewhere, and it might have been there. But then it was like someone must have said something to him, and he thought, well, okay, this is it, last straw. Let's, I'm going to.
How long afterwards did he come back there?
I want to say like 20 minutes or something like that.
Oh, well, then he was planning on doing it there, because how would he have gotten, if he was in, how long does it take to get from San Bernardino to Redlands where he lived?
Yeah, it's right on the border. It's right there. It's real
But how
close.
many minutes away would you say?
Less than 5 minutes maybe.
So he could have gone home and got all armored up and been back there in 20 minutes?
Probably.
But then with his wife, was she at the party too?
Who knows? I don't know all the details, and I don't even think law enforcement doesn't know all the details yet. It's going to take a long time for them to, and I wonder if with the two deceased, if it will take them longer to figure things out, to sort through things.
I will bet you, Di, that there are other people involved in this, not just those two.
Yeah? You think?
Well, how would he have gotten all the weapons and the bombs and everything?
They were sending him to his house. People outside of the country were sending them to his house. There was a neighbor who was saying that they were always receiving boxes. And then they would stay up late at night, and they were open. They were just up all hours. So they'd been planning this or something for a long, long time.
It just seems to me they were going to attack that party.
Yeah.
Because it seems to get all armored up. Okay, I'm mad now. Let's go home for 5 minutes. Hello, wife. Let's go in there and shoot this place up. I think that they probably had planned on doing it.
Maybe the argument
way too fast.
Yeah, maybe the argument was just an excuse.
Yeah.
Like that's going to make this tragedy worse or better.
Right.
Yeah.
Or maybe it would get him all fired up even more. Okay, now I'm going to do it. Maybe his wife was waiting nearby.
All right.
Anyway, it sucks. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
This is 1050 AM KCAA Loma Linda and KCAA FM Yucaipa 106.5 FM.
NASDAQ down 85. Mixed news on jobs, one day ahead of the Labor Department's big November employment report. First-time jobless claims up by 9,000 last week, but an outplacement firm reports planned corporate layoffs.